Welcome to Harley on the Headlines. It is really good to have you here. We can't do it or really have much fun doing it without you. So if it's good or useful or just an occasional lighthearted moment, please hit like, follow, subscribe. It'll help other people find it, and we sure do appreciate it. California has finally gotten around to revoking driver's licenses given to about 17,000 illegal aliens. They should not have been given a license unless politicos want to use the license as an avenue to register to vote. But now that couldn't be it. Anyway, it's about time, California. Maybe canceling those licenses will save some lives, unless they just drive without a license. But Harley, that's not fair. Lawbreakers and trespassers, they wouldn't do that. Man, it is very clear now that Jeffrey Epstein's documents have been released that, man, horny men of every stripe will buddy up to people they publicly pretend to abhor if it means they can hang out with sexy young women and even teenage girls. Epstein's roster of friends, wealthy men and women and influential power people, ran the gamut of business executives, academics from the left and right, politicians, left and right, tech giants, economic experts, and many, many others, even reporters. It wasn't just for the party, though party they did in New York, on a secluded and exclusive ranch in New Mexico, and of course on so-called Lolita Island, accessible only by air and by sea. You know, when adults think they have absolute seclusion without much in the way of restrictions, they will find their lower levels. Jeffrey Epstein was intelligent, educated, urbane, extremely well-connected, good-looking as powerful men are perceived, and he could talk about business, Wall Street, technology, politics, human nature, psychology. He was a fascinating fellow, no doubt. As biotech venture capitalist Boris Nikolic said in one email to Epstein, as we concluded, anything good is rented, with a wink emoji. It is evident, too, that his friends remained his friends right up to near the end, deserting him only when it was clear his ship was sinking. From Bill Clinton to Steve Bannon, from Noam Chomsky to Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Prince Andrew to physicist and cosmologist Lawrence Krauss, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, and yes, he knew Donald Trump. He helped some of the movers and shakers meet him. But it's also true that Trump did cut ties and threw Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago when he got out of line. Epstein provided access to his Rolodex of powerful people, perceived privacy and security in exclusive locations, and always with plenty of beautiful young women to decorate the environment. With the help of his girlfriend and procurer, Ghislaine Maxwell, there were always plenty of women, volunteers, to be part of the Epstein circle. They didn't have to kidnap anyone. These were some of the most exclusive circles you might imagine, and people wanted to be a part of it if they could. There were also some young women who were underage, who may or may not have realized what they were becoming part of. The jet set has always left scruples behind, or set aside, certainly, when the moment seemed like a good idea. Iran captured an oil tanker in the Strait of Hormuz. It's a Marshall Islands flagged ship loaded with high sulfur gas oil headed for refineries. It's the first time Iran's Navy has felt froggy enough to jump since U.S. bombs set back their nuclear weapons program. The ship, the Talara, left the UAE bound for Singapore when it was surrounded by 3 small armed boats and redirected. Iran has threatened to shut down the narrow Strait of Hormuz, but they can't do that. The U.S. Fifth Fleet patrols those waters these days, making sure that ships from every nation can pass through. The deal for the U.S. to build a nuclear submarine for South Korea is a done deal now. It's a trade and security agreement that will have Seoul investing $350 billion in the U.S. in exchange for lower tariffs. It is not an all-at-once investment. $20 billion per year makes it more palatable for South Korea and still valuable and useful For the U.S., it means jobs and longevity at Electric Boat and other big shipyards and an array of strategic contractors scattered around the country. New York City still has cops. There was a man who entered Mount Sinai Medical Center. He was armed with a gun and had told a nearby deli owner he was going to shoot up the hospital. That's what brought the police on the run. And when the guy fought with the police and fired at them, they didn't send for a social worker. They shot him dead. Someone needs to tell the new mayor. He might not understand. For decades, Pete Rose was banned from baseball because he made bets on his team to win. No one ever accused Rose, known as Charlie Hustle, of loafing or not trying hard enough to win. Pete Rose was great, period. Well, let's look at Emmanuel Clace. And allegedly, it's a quite different story. He's a star pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians. And what a pitcher does or doesn't do really can affect the outcome of games. The federal investigators say he took bribes to help gamblers win bets on his pitches. He's a 3-time All-Star, twice American League Relief Pitcher of the Year, and he was tossed in jail yesterday. He's pleaded not guilty, pending trial, out on bail. Next court date is December 2nd. He'll be there with his attorneys, along with Cleveland teammate Luis Ortiz, who is also charged in the same gambling scheme. So here's how it allegedly worked. Clace is a hell of a pitcher. He throws first pitch strikes, unless there's big money on that first pitch. And then the feds say he could throw it in the dirt or go way outside. Ka-ching. Big money for anyone who might know it's coming and put money down. He was being paid $20 million by the Guardians in a 5-year deal for pitching, for playing a game, 20 mil. But he was allegedly making thousands in bribes on the side to help a couple of Dominican gamblers rake in nearly $500,000. You can place a bet on pitch speed, on the ball placement, on strikes and balls, and naturally on hits and strikeouts, wins and losses, and many, many other stats. No game was more tracked statistically than baseball. President Donald Trump has gotten his apology from the BBC. The news organization edited his speech to make it seem as though he was saying something he did not. Trump was going to sue the BBC for $1 billion, and the BBC has seen the light. They admit he's right. They have apologized and issued a retraction. Now, you're wondering, I know you are, what did the BBC do? Okay, what their edited version had Trump saying was this. It's a quote. "We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell." That's what they said. He said in that way. What he actually said was, "We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women." That's nasty business, what the BBC did. Whether the apology and retraction will satisfy the president or make the financial part of the threatened lawsuit go away is just not yet known. I had one naysayer tell me after the David Rush break 65 cucumbers in 30 seconds story that people don't care about stories like that. Well, okay, maybe they won't care about this one either. The same guy, who's a science and math teacher from Indiana, bounced 10 pencils. Use the eraser as a spring and bounce the pencil up into the air and land it inside a glass or a cup. We do that at bars sometimes, just because we can. Bouncing coins into cups, same thing, right? He did it. 10 pencils into the cup in 6.88 seconds. So there. No? Okay, then try this one. How many three-pointers can you hit in 1 hour? Basketball. At Saco Middle School in Maine, a phys ed teacher, Ryan Martin, has set the Guinness record. 1,516 shots from three-point range. Not just taking the shot, scoring. I'd be hard-pressed to shoot it that many times. He put up 1,683 shots. He hit 90%, 15-16. Pros would be more than happy with that. Heck, they'd be happy if they were free throws. Oh, and by the way, the same guy also owns the record for the most free throws made in 1 hour, 2,494. That's ridiculous. Man, oh man. Hats off to him for that. Thanks for joining us for Harley on the Headlines. Hope you get something worthwhile out of these visits. Sure hope you like some of the stories. If so, do me a great favor and pass it on. Hit like, follow, subscribe. Please, it'll help. I am Harley Carnes. Best to you, and we'll see you later.